is Liza. I'm director at Plug and Play France, and I'm very happy to welcome all of you here today. Today, as Yves and Zoe have already mentioned, we will talk a lot about different innovations and breakthrough technologies that are shaping the world of retail and logistics. And from the standpoint of view of Plug and Play being one of the largest and the most active investor venture capital firm, but also the global innovation platform, we have seen in the past couple of years that technologies such as generative AI has been shaping a lot those industries and has had impact on more than 20 different industries in total, but retail and logistics being just some of them. Some of the most prominent probably and most crucial use cases that we see in retail and logistics could be found in the areas of marketing, automation, back-end productivity, operational efficiency, and customer service, of course. And today we will discuss together with Guillaume from Mistral AI. Mistral AI is the biggest AI startup in Europe that has been able to have funding of more than 1.1 billion of euro in just a couple of years, even less from its creation. Together with Guillaume, we will discuss the impact of generative AI on retail and logistics, its application, and maybe even make some predictions for the future. Very happy to have you here with us, Guillaume. And can you please introduce yourself maybe quickly and Mistral AI, and also explain to us what LLM, a large language model, is, because I know you will talk a lot about it.
Yes. So first of all, thank you so much for having me here. I'm super happy to have the opportunity to share what we do. So I'm Guillaume. I'm leading our go-to-market in EMEA. Mistral AI is a Paris-based company that was started a year and a half ago by 3 AI researchers who came from Meta and Google DeepMind, where they spent some time building large language models. Our mission at Mistral is to make AI ubiquitous, and we build large language models, which basically are huge probabilistic models based on neural networks. So these are math, basically, that allows to have applications around models that copy or which are able to reason around very similar use cases as the human brain. So what you do, people, in terms of content creation, translation, pattern detection, code modernization, summarization, and so on. So we are based out of Paris, of course, but we're playing in a very global garden, right? We compete with our competitors are mostly US tech companies. So you said it, Liz. We've raised a lot of money. It is because this is a very capital-intensive industry, right? It takes a lot of money to develop models because we need to train them on huge quantities of GPUs, which are very powerful servers, which cost a lot of money. So the company was founded in May last year. We've raised 100 million in seed, which allowed us to create our very first model that we put under an open source license because we believe that this technology is so transformational that it should be put into the hands of every application developer at the lowest cost possible. So it came under an open source license, Apache 2, free for use. We don't make money out of it. But it allowed us to kind of make a name on this market and raise more money. So we raised in our Series A 400 million, which allowed us to buy more GPUs and build more models. And we developed our first commercial family. So it's a family of models that come under a commercial license, which we distribute and sell to our customers, mainly large companies as well as startups. And we've been very successful. So we raised more money in April, another round of 600 million in April this year, to buy more cluster and build more models, and also develop new applications. So we just released a few months ago Lusha, which is our AI conversational interface. And we announced yesterday that we added a lot more features to that. So Lusha, which is our chatbot, can now reason on PDF. You can do web search with sources citation. It can generate images. It can also reason on images. So it can do a lot of things. and I encourage you all to test it.
Thanks a lot, Guillaume.
Yep.
And maybe if we go over, the evolution of different large language models over the last couple of years, what have been the main developments that you can share with us, and maybe the role of Mistral AI also in these developments, and how potentially all the companies that are being present in the room can use Mistral AI in their AI initiatives.
So this is a very new industry, right? Although there are companies, especially in the US, that have been working on these models in the past 5 to 10 years, we can date the market from October 2022 with the release of GPT 3.5 and ChatGPT. So this is a very new industry, right? What's different with other industries what's different with other revolutions that we've seen in the past is basically the pace of adoption, which is way faster than what we've known before. I think it took like 2 months to get to to Instagram to get like 50 million users. It get a lot less for ChatGPT to get that number as well. So basically, we believe that most of the value will be captured in the next 3 to 5 years, which is short, all right? And we see that it already has impact on the market. Most of you probably know Klarna, that Swedish startup that does buy now, pay later on e-commerce. And they announced in February that they had deployed within their contact centers chatbot powered by GenAI. And this chatbot, as they say, has managed over 2.3 million customer conversations without impacting the NPS. That very same day, the stock price of Teleperformance, which do BPO, basically solution for contact centers, dropped by 21%. So these are literally hundreds of millions of valuation that evaporated, which shows the impact that GenAI and such enhancements can have.
Absolutely. So, and what do you think? What is the role of AI in the different developments of LLMs, and how companies in general can use everything that you're building?
Yes. So basically, what we've seen in the past year and a half is that most companies understood the urgency of using models, but started with kind of having like chatbots, basically off-the-shelf solution, because what mattered was time to market. But what I think is important to understand is that general models are general purpose, so they can serve a broad range of use cases, but most of them are not specialized. And when you use models, it is always a trade-off between speed and reasoning capacities. So speed are small models, but they will be less smart, let's say. So super useful for customer chatbots or every customer-facing use cases. But in the meantime, if you want more reasoning capacities, you need bigger models, which will be slower, a little bit more expensive to run as well. But they will be great fit to detect, to see patterns or go get very specific information in huge sets of documents, or for predictive maintenance or that kind of use cases.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, Guillaume.
Yeah, sorry, maybe I've been a little bit too fast on this one.
No, it's fine.
No, but maybe if you go back just on
okay.
the previous one, I think that's interesting. I guess most of your companies have an internal chatbot, right, for your employees. I see people saying yes. Good, it works, but this is not a game changer. It doesn't change the way you do business, right? It's a must-have today. It's like a minimum that has been used for evangelization purpose and so on. What we see now is that use cases are moving from being employee-centric at the very periphery of the information system up to the very core business around, so core business applications and customers. And for that, what matters is not time to market, but the level of control that you want to have of the model, because you want to make sure that the model is able to be accurate, doesn't hallucinate, doesn't leak any confidential data that you have, especially if it concerns, if it's about your customers, and that takes a little bit more time, but this is the cost of finding the source of the distinctiveness that you will use to make a difference on your market.
Perfect, thanks a lot. And could you please tell us maybe about some of the main areas where LLMs have transformed retail and logistics, specifically since we're talking a lot about logistics and retail today?
Yes. So, well, there is a study from McKinsey that says that there are, I think it's 400 to 600 billion of value in the next 5 to 7 years to get from Gen AI within the retail and logistic industry. I mean, it should be taken with a grain of salt, right? But this is interesting because it shows that we don't talk about millions, we talk about billions, right? So we started with everything that is employee-centric and now moving to core business. There are two main things that are of interest, I think. The first one is everything related to back-end workflows, so around procurement, for example, answering RFPs. There is everything related to content generation, especially for e-commerce, where we see that product documents are written by Gen AI, of course can be controlled by human. Everything around process automation, especially for predictive maintenance, workflow definition, relation between within the logistic field between the delivery managers and the customers, which allow to make the relationship way more smoother and way more automated. It doesn't mean, I mean, Gen AI is not a magic one, right? It's not going to replace the whole application stack that you already have. It's not gonna, it's just basically on some use cases, going to allow you to do the extra mile and improve a little bit more the way you operate in terms of efficiency. The second, so that's the first one. The second one is everything related to customer care. So I gave the example of Klarna for contact centers. There is definitely a lot of productivity gains to get from contact centers. So the first obvious use case is around augmented agents. So usually to help them draft answers or replies to customer queries. But in the end, we see first customers, especially in some industries such as banking. So we do have a lot of customers doing that, who start to build customer-facing chatbots that they bring in front of their customers. And this is the case, for example, for Belfius, a Belgian bank. So customer care, definitely. We see also in the e-commerce field shopping assistance, which I don't mean to offend anyone, but in the past year it was a nice feature which usually didn't work very well. We see that now it's behaving a lot more with a lot more accuracy, although we've seen that mostly in the US, as far as I know, with large online retailer.
And speaking about that, so maybe could you share with us some concrete case studies that everyone can relate to?
So absolutely, and I'll go back to this one right after. But on the Mistral side, what we do basically is that we expose models, right? We expose them through many different channels. Before going to the example, I think it's worth maybe positioning us a little bit in this field. So there are maybe 30 startups that do what we do in the world. And among those 30 startups, only top tier matters, because this is almost a commodity. I mean, models are almost a commodity. We are lucky enough to be in the top 5 in terms of raw performance, alongside a few US tech giants. So what we believe, of course, is in frontier performance. Most companies that have been using models just want the very best models, because you want the highest accuracy, you want the best performance, you want the less hallucination as possible. But that's good for testing, because when it comes to scaling to hundreds of thousands or even millions of customers, what matters is efficiency. Efficiency is the cost to performance ratio. We believe that the future of AI, and this is of Gen AI, and this is what we're working on, will be made of mid-sized models that can be specialized on some very specific tasks. For example, within a contact center, to answer very specific customer queries on a specific range of products. because this will allow to scale in a sustainable way and get a return on investment while deploying the technology in front of millions of customers. So first performance, then efficiency. And regarding efficiency, this is a great focus for us because even though we've raised a lot of money, we don't have infinite, very deep pocket, not as well as our competitors at least. So we must build models that use way less infrastructure, less than our competitors, and we've been pretty good at it. So we'll keep doing it. The second thing I would like to mention is the portability of this technology. As of today, on the market, usually when you pick a large language model, it comes with a cloud provider, which is perfectly fine, but it kind of forces you to bring the data to the model and not the other way around. And this is why we partner with AWS, Azure, GCP, IBM, Snowflake, and many others to make our models available everywhere so you can bring the model to the data, which is cheaper. It's also faster in terms of latency, and it is safer because you don't have to move the data from one place to another. We can even run on-premise, which I guess for you might not be of interest because you're not as highly regulated as other industries such as banks or the defense, which love our models because they can run on-prem. But we can go also on device, and that could be of interest for your industry, right? We can run on smartphones, we can run on computers with very, very small but also very efficient models. So I do have a use case, for example, in the automotive industry, where we are working with one of our customers in deploying very small models within cars, which means that you don't need an internet connection to use GenAI. And the model is what we call an agent, which means I'll not be too technical, don't worry, but this is super interesting in terms of future. So the model is inside the car versus being outside connected in the cloud, which means that if you don't have internet connection, it just doesn't work. Plus, it's also very expensive because there are data flows all the time between the cloud and the car. So we run the model within the car, and the model, when the customer asks a question, is smart enough to decide whether it can answer it directly. For example, for troubleshooting, hey, there is a light on the car, what does it mean? So the model is able to go read the user manual and provide the answer. Or if it cannot provide the answer because, for example, it needs an internet connection. So let's say a question, hey, I'm tired, I'd like to stop in a restaurant. Please find something for me 30 minutes away from now. The model cannot answer it if it is not connected to the internet. So in this case, it will be smart enough to understand that it cannot answer and go trigger an API call in the cloud. So this is what we do. And in terms of other use cases, so within your industry, we're working with Carrefour, in the retail, so to help generate answers to customer reviews. So for example, the store managers, they have to answer every customer review they get on the social networks, especially on Google. So we help them draft the answers that then they validate and then they post. So it saves them a lot of time. And we're also pretty sure that the level of answer, the editorial tone is always the same, which is good for company culture and company communication. Orange has been using us to generate personalized marketing messages. So they send like hundreds of thousands of emails and SMS to customers as part of marketing campaigns. And usually they have like 10 different personas, and that's one specific message for each persona. And with GenAI, it allows to do almost one custom message for each persona. So we did that for several dozen of personas, but we could imagine that in the future, we could improve and have for each customer a very custom message, and that's costless. And we had an uplift by 9%, so it shows that personalization is a great way to improve customer engagement.
Thanks, Guillaume. To be mindful of time, I will just quickly maybe give the last 3 points, the main key takeaways for everyone in the audience. from our conversation and something that we discussed with you yesterday as well. So if you're not implementing in your organization generative AI, you need to probably understand that time is really crucial here. So if you're not doing it now, it might be too late. So we should all get inspired by the Klarna use case that Guillaume told us about in the beginning. The second important thing is to understand that AI is really transformative, and it will transform not only your organization from within, but also the way that you interact with your customers. And the third, last but not least, is have always a trusted partner that understands the technology very well and who can help you transform, this journey and will be along the way along this journey with you. Now we have 7.5 minutes left for Q&A from the audience, so any question from the audience are very welcome. Anyone who has a question to Guillaume? Please.
Hi, thank you very much for the presentation. I have a couple of questions. The first one is related to any potential IPO for Mistral AI, and what do you think about OpenAI opening an office in Paris recently? And the second question is related to what is the potential of what is the hardware interface that's more credible for LLM? Like we hear a lot about humanoids. You spoke about automotive. So what do you think is the most credible or the biggest opportunity in terms of hardware interface?
It's hard to say. As of today, the most credible one is what you have in your pocket, right? A phone or a computer. We believe that tomorrow, I mean the future, voice will be also super important. So it's very hard to say, but we're tied to the evolution of the technology there. So it's not just the models and the application stack, but also the device layers that kind of constrains us. And I cannot comment on the first question.
Thank you. Anyone else? We had some more hands. Yeah, please.
Thanks, Liza. Hi, Guillaume. My name is Pierre, and the question is about the application layer that we can build on top of the LLM. And I'm interested on your vision and Mistral vision on that. Is it something that you would value, something that makes valuable for Mistral, or any other thoughts on that?
For us to build, you mean?
Yeah, no, for
you.
Yeah, for anyone that can build on top of Mistral technology.
Yeah, absolutely. So there are two ways to approach Gen AI. Either you buy off-the-shelf applications, and then for you it's a black box. So basically you get a service delivered, but you don't know what happens behind. Or you build your own application, and in this case you will pick different services. One of them, different bricks. One of them is models, and then on top of that you will build your application, whether it is a chatbot, a coding assistant, or whatsoever. And this is definitely a strategic question that each of you need to wonder: do I want to build or do I want to buy? And I mean, there's no easy answer to that, but maybe the easiest one is it strategic for my business or not? Do I want to externalize it or not? Do I want to control it or not? And as long as the answer is yes, it's strategic, it's core business, then you should build on that, because you don't want to externalize the value of Gen AI. You will do at some point with some of the application. I mean, every provider you have probably has knocked at your door saying, hey, we've got new great Gen AI feature within the product, go buy it, which you will do at some point, but not with every supplier.
Thank you. Anyone else? We have 4 more minutes. No? If not, okay, maybe Guillaume, if you have any last thoughts, any conclusion?
Well, no, I think you said it all. I mean, I could just encourage you to test what we do, test our models. So we're building a team. In a few months, we went from almost a year, 20 of us in a small room with no heating system in the middle of the winter, up to 130 people company and counting. We opened offices in Palo Alto, in London as well, and there are more to come. So, I mean, any interest, we're super happy to support the transformation. So come connect with us. And I see another question.
Yeah, we can, I think, take one, probably, yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, one quick question. if you look at social media and social commerce and generally the sort of creation of content all the way up to live streaming, how do you see the applications of AI sort of evolving in the West? As an example, AI avatars as live streamers. Do you see that coming quickly or taking some time?
No, we see definitely that coming because this is a great opportunity, but it comes also with higher need for control, I guess, because when it comes to content creation, I mean, we see that models can be used for many purposes, and many of the data that you will find on the social medias are already generated by GenAI, right? So the question is, how can you generate data and content that brings value to your customers and you as a company in a safe place, right? So respecting your policies, your guardrails, and so on. So this is why we work a lot at Mistral, also on not only building models, but also providing the tools to help our customers. So we provide tools for observability, so to understand what's happening behind the scene, right? Because these, you need to keep in mind that these are probabilistic models. So the whole game is to the question is, how can we make sure that a probabilistic model behave in a deterministic way, which is almost impossible, but we try to make that happen through observability, so monitoring, as well as guardrailing. So it means that we can implement guardrails within the model, which is, I mean, never perfect, right? But it's a very good way to prevent a lot of behaviors which are not acceptable from your perspective. And the very last one is what we call fine-tuning. In this case, you modify slightly the model. So the neural network will be slightly modified to make sure that the model behave in a certain way with a certain editorial tone and has a great knowledge of your company. So not only the data, but also the process, the history. So if you feed a model with 20 years of customer conversation, he will be amazing at talking to your customers the way you want it.
So the bright future is ahead of us. Thanks a lot for the questions. I think we're done. Thank you so much, Guillaume. And Guillaume is staying here for lunch and later, so feel free to reach out to him as well and to ask questions later. Thank you so much.
Thank you.